City rail fans. You've tuned in to the Iron City Roundhouse Report, the podcast where we delve into the fascinating world of locomotives, rolling stock, and the rich history and current state of railroading. I'll be one of your hosts. My name's Brad Williamson, and our other host is my good friend Patrick Moore. And whether you're a seasoned model railroader, a history buff, or just someone who loves the sound of a passing train, you're in the right place. We're proudly affiliated with the Iron City N-Scale Facebook group, but don't let the name fool you. We cover all scales from Z to G and everything in between. We'll be exploring the vibrant railroading scene of western and central Pennsylvania, from the mighty steel giants of the past to the intricate layouts of today. Expect in-depth discussions, interviews with experts, and plenty of stories from the rails. So grab your favorite beverage, settle in, and enjoy the Roundhouse Report, a podcast of Iron City, by Iron City, and for Iron City. Hello, and welcome once again to another episode of the Iron City Roundhouse Report. And I believe, unless I've lost count, that we are now on episode number 16. So thank you to everybody who has continued to support us and who has continued downloading and listening. We appreciate that so much. And as we promised, as long as we have people who enjoy listening, we'll just keep doing this. Tonight, I want to bring in two co-hosts, not just one, but two co-hosts. The full-time co-host is my good friend Patrick Moore. Pat, welcome.
Hey, everybody. How's it going this evening?
And also tonight, we're trying something new for the first time. We have a special guest / co-host. He's filling two roles. Another good friend of ours from the sunshine, from sunny, warm Florida compared to where we're sitting right now. We have Chuck Rockwell from Florida, who is an engineer or is engineer or conductor, Chuck? Conductor, right?
Yeah, conductor
for CSX Railroad, and is also in the process of building it would be a basement empire if it was in a basement, but he built his own building to house his layout, and he's in the process of putting that together. So Chuck, welcome, and thank you for being a guest and co-hosting with us. Good to have you here.
Oh, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Brad, when I see Chuck's layout, I always think of like the monster truck commercials or something, or the wrestling mega layout. You know what I mean? Like that's what he's building down there in Florida. So I'm really excited to talk to him about it tonight. I think we're gonna have a good time, and we've got a lot of good questions that have been approved by Brad through an accounting firm, and he stamped it the other day. So we're good to go on that. So really going to enjoy this program this evening, Brad.
Yeah, yep. I've been looking forward to this one for a while, too. So let's get her going. Do we want to get going with the Roundhouse Report, Pat, or is there anything else you needed to?
No, let's get into it. Yeah.
All right, let's go.
Okay, let's start the Roundhouse Report. My first selection tonight is from Ken Dixon. He is from Iron City, UK, or the British division, they're calling it, of Iron City. And they have a really nice, and I think I might have seen this once before, at some pictures or videos or someone shooting it at one of the shows, but it's really well done, and I've never seen anybody else do something like this where it's kind of like a module, but it's a little bit bigger. It's almost like looks like a double or a triple and then double wide. I think it's Nazarene, Portland, and Cement. So
Nazareth, Portland.
Nazareth, Portland, Cement,
yeah.
And Brad, it's really neat because it has like a construction tarp type texture around the bottom of it. It sits up a little bit higher, it has its own freewheeling stand. And then on the top where the name is put, it looks like it's in concrete per se. And I believe, Brad, there's lighting that's connected to like an overhead for this module. And you talk about some great work. And I want to say, I'm looking at it right now, trying to zoom in here. I want to say it's got two, like a main line and like 3 or 4 branch lines to different parts of the plant back in there. It's not too wide. It does look modular, but I don't think it's the same standards that we're normally used to. But the height on it is what's great. It's sitting right at the chest level, I would say, probably about 4 feet, 5 feet, depending on how tall you are. And it's just outstanding. It's got the backdrops connected to it and just great weathering. It looks like it's in the fall. If you have a chance to take a look at Ken's post, please take a look at that. So well done. And it's great to see the British division of the Iron City take off a little bit more, because I think there were several folks there that do listen to the podcast and are members of our page. And we're really trying to reach out to them a little bit more. And in season 2, if the timing's right and we can get people, we'd love to have some of the Iron City British division on to tell us all about their shows. Because I know that's a big thing over there, all the different shows and everything. So, Brad, that's my first one for this evening.
Yeah, I just wanted to dogpile on that. It's that when I first saw that post, that's the first I'd ever really seen anything like that. I don't know what the name would be for those type of modules, but they are really cool. So it's some sort of modular system. It might have been one that they came up with on their own. I don't know, but just absolutely spectacular modeling, like museum quality modeling, as far as I'm concerned. And the neat thing to me is, one of the neat things, there's lots of neat things, but two things that I could not help but notice, they're modeling U.S. prototypes. I know a Reading Railroad engine and a bunch of, there were some Chessie coal hoppers on there. I believe there was even a Western Maryland engine. And Chuck, I don't know if you saw this or not, but did anybody happen to notice what they're using for a control system on that?
NCE, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Wasn't bad.
You got it, buddy. You got it. So yeah, thank you to Ken for posting that. It's always great to hear from our friends across the Atlantic there in the UK. And not only was it nice to hear from him, but man, was it really cool to see the fine work that they put together. Just everything about that's neat. I agree with you too, that the sign or the thing that they have up above it, it does look like that was that was like written in concrete almost. And just really enjoyed seeing he posted a couple videos and several pictures of that neat modular layout. So very much appreciated, and it's great to hear from those guys. So yeah, that was a good one you chose, Pat.
Thanks. Brad, what do you have?
I got one from Iron City East, former student of mine even, Ricky Larson, Iron City member, posted about the Reading and Northern, which is definitely my favorite regional railroad in the entire country, if not the entire world. They recently outshopped a patriotic themed locomotive to celebrate the United States 250th anniversary, which is coming up next year. They took engine number 3061, I believe it was, which was an EMD SD40-2, and they painted it in a really nice patriotic paint scheme. They numbered it 1776, which of course was, the considered the birth of our country, the birth year. And we're coming up on the 250th anniversary of that. So the Reading and Northern fittingly, just had this at Locomotive come out of their paint shop recently, I guess. And they did a fantastic job on it. And I wasn't even aware that they were, as much as I follow the Reading and Northern, and it's not that far from me, I wasn't even aware that they were doing that. So thank you to Ricky for posting that. And thanks to the Reading and Northern for just doing a great job. I look forward to getting out and hopefully getting some pictures and videos of that thing at some point here, maybe over the winter or maybe come spring when the 250-year celebration is starting to get in full swing. But enjoyed seeing that too, the 1776 for the Reading and Northern, and that's something for our members in Eastern Pennsylvania to be on the lookout for.
Brad, when I see all these new paint schemes for the bicentennial or the 250, it reminds me of 1976. I was 6 years old and just starting the hobby with my dad, and all that paint scheme was also around. So it's kind of bringing back full circle of when I first started to see all these paint schemes with the prototypes, and hopefully we'll see all these on layouts soon too. And I
Yeah,
remember for years that you would see the 76 paint scheme on people's layouts, and it kind of faded away. Now it's coming back again.
yeah, it's cool. I look forward to the 250th anniversary of the United States in general, but I think too it might be neat, something for us to think about in the future. Maybe have some photo contests or just a photo challenge to take photos of these commemorative locomotives that we can either paint ourselves, or I would guess there's probably going to be some manufacturers bringing some of these paint schemes out for us. But I think it would be cool to have people run these locomotives on their layouts, and then we can post videos and pictures of it on the Facebook page.
Absolutely. So, Chuck, as our co-host tonight, what do you have for the Roundhouse Report?
This is an important moment in Iron City Roundhouse Report history, Pat. I think this is the first time we have ever had someone besides you and I do this. So
I think we had Kevin do one. I think one time, but I think
Kevin. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I think Chuck is going to hit us up with a good one tonight. I think.
Sorry, Kevin, if I forgot.
I'm gonna go with the one I put on there for the office car special.
Oh, excellent! Tell us about that one.
Well, I'll start with the weekend. We had about 22 of us. We went up to the Station Inn and rented almost the whole thing out, and just railfan and went to the train show. We went to Todd Treaster's house and had a really good time. I picked up Tom Patterson and Chris Chapin in Virginia, and we rolled up there, railfanned, and went to Mainline Hobbies on the way. And then we railfanned that first day. We caught that Lehigh Valley engine.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
That's the only engine we
Hey,
see the
Chuck,
whole
I have an important question. Did you see a garbage train while you were there?
yeah, it smelled a few too.
See, Chuck, there's an inside joke that I think is getting out of control. I'm worried if I go up to Springfield, everybody's going to walk up to me and go, "Hey, aren't you the train trash expert?" You know what I mean? Because that's all I see.
That was our last train. We left yesterday morning, and the trash train went by when we were all packing up our cars. But we found out the night before Sunday morning there was a train show in Altoona. So we had breakfast at the inn, and we headed down to the show, and we started walking around. And Todd had he called Seth Gardner and told him there's office car special leaving Altoona. So we hightailed it. We tried to make it to the inn, but it was already going by the inn. So we raced down there behind that Dollar General and caught it. We getting out of the truck as the gates were coming down. So it was a pretty good catch.
Yeah, that was a neat video. But yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
That's all right. I was going to, Chuck, tell us a little bit about that paint scheme. What's NS decided to do with that on the office car?
Well, what I heard is they're going to paint like 15 of them, and they're going to put them in general freight service, but just have them for ready for office car trains is what I heard. But it looks pretty good. It's kind of like a reverse CSX Heritage engine, kind of.
Yeah, so they went with the front of the cab with the retro, and the back of the cab with the
normal
vice versa. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty neat.
And is that Pennsylvania? Is that the Pennsylvania? What do they call it? Not Burgundy. The
Tuscan or something.
Tuscan
red. I don't know if it's Tuscan red or if wasn't. Trying to think, didn't Norfolk Southern have a red, or not? Norfolk and Western had a reddish paint scheme at one time.
Yeah, I believe they did. Yeah.
I
remember if it was special.
Yeah, it is. It's definitely a red shade, and it matches the cars, I think, on the office special. So
yeah,
but I agree. It's really well done, I think, and it looks pretty sharp.
Yeah.
So
it was nice. We had a good time this weekend, and you got to see Brad over at Todd's.
You didn't speed getting there to that crossing, did you?
Yeah, a little bit. Lucky there was no cops out.
Yeah.
We barely made it.
Yeah, it was good to see you and all the guys there. And our buddy Chris Adams was there too. I know he was recently on an episode with us. And Seth, Doc Gardner was there, and Chris Costello. And Tom Patterson. and Mike. Yeah. I was,
Angela came.
yeah, Angela Sutton was there. Yeah, that looked like it was a pretty good crowd of people you had. I wanted to try to come out on Saturday and maybe hang out on the porch or wherever, but we had hockey game Saturday night.
Oh, yeah.
And so Chuck, when you were there, and Brad, you were there too. We've been following along with Todd on his construction plan of his mill and everything. How's that looking?
Oh,
Were you able to
it's
take a
looking
little-
good. It looks like he's got a little bit more track work to do and put in a bridge, but it's looking really good. I told him he had to put some pictures on.
Yeah, we're trying to keep following up, because here in a few weeks when he's done, we're going to do a follow up video and let all our viewers see that final project. I'm really excited for him because I know he really wanted to make that more operational and not just a static. So I know he's been working hard on it. I know I saw some airbrushing on the factory to get that grime and grit of the steel mill. It looked really good. So I'm looking forward to seeing that.
Looks even better in person. Yeah, it looks really good.
Hey guys, can you carry on without me for about 5 minutes? Our viewers will probably get a kick out of this, but Missy just came downstairs and I have to go convince a possum that it needs to leave our porch. I'll be back. I'll be back. Carry on.
Okay, guys, I think with the Roundhouse Report complete, we will take a pause here for just a second, and we'll be back with Brad and Chuck and to discuss model railroading and real railroading right here on the Iron City Roundhouse Report. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody. What a great show we're going to have this evening. We got Brad and Chuck here. We got co-host, and Chuck is also our special guest this evening. I'm going to pass it over to Brad, and he's going to get the questions started tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Pat, and looking forward to hearing from Chuck. I guess, Chuck, we got two phases we want to look at here tonight. You're a career real railroader, and you've also been a model railroader, I know, for a long time. So if you don't mind, let's start off with the full-scale trains and tell us a little bit about your job with the real railroad and what you do and where you work and things like that. So if you're whatever you can share with us, I'm sure we and our listeners would be very interested to hear about what it is you do.
Okay. Yeah, I got out of high school and I went to work for a signal contractor called AST, American Systems Technologies. That was in '93. And I worked there for about 3 years. We went all over working on short lines and a little bit of class 1 work. And then I got a job with CSX as a conductor in '96. And I've been there ever since. But I never went to engineer school. The old heads used to always tell me when I hired out that you hired out with 25 years seniority. Well, like the next person older me in seniority was hired out before I was born. So I had good seniority hiring out, but I didn't realize it took me many years to figure that out. So I've worked conductor jobs. I worked Jacksonville to Chattahoochee and Jacksonville to Tampa and Florence and Manchester, Georgia, and Waycross, all through the South. And they shortlined some of our runs, like Fernandina Beach. They sold that to the First Coast Railroad. And Jacksonville to Pensacola, they sold that to the Florida Gulf and Atlantic. Lately, I've been working a utility job. They put few utility jobs back on because of the long trains. And I line the trains in the yard, and then when they double over, I watch their shoves. And then when we put them together, I help them cut their DP in and stuff like that.
So you work now mainly in the yard. You're not on like over the road freights as much anymore. You used to be, I think, didn't you?
Yeah. I used to, for about 20 years, I worked nothing but road. See, here in Jacksonville, when I hired out on the railroad, when I reported for work, I went in the superintendent's office and he's like, "What do you want to work, yard or the road?" And I'm like, "Well, I want to work both." He says, "You can't." He says, "You're either a road conductor or a yard." So I chose the road and I'm still a road conductor, but about 4 years ago, they merged the yard and the road together. But I hired out as a road conductor and just worked the road. you had to put in for a transfer to go work the yard and stuff. It was kind of weird. I don't know if a lot of places are like that or not, but
Yeah, I'm not sure either. So it's always been in the South, in the Florida, down. You haven't ever worked for CSX up this way, I don't think, right? Or have you?
yes, when we took over our portion of Conrail, I went to Lafayette, Indiana for just over 6 months and worked.
Okay.
Worked Lafayette to Chicago, Lafayette to Terre Haute, and we went down to Indianapolis to Avon and State Street yards. That was pretty interesting. It was old school. They still had semaphores and stick rail and stuff. It was kind of interesting.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
That's cool.
Yeah, it was kind of neat. It was right when they were doing a lot of work there. The NS line used to run right through town, and there was 100 crossings. And while we were there, they built a bypass and a new line for CSX and stuff. And
Didn't they
Beaverville and Southern came in there too. We used to see them once in a while. It was pretty interesting.
Didn't they triple track the old? I think it was the old B&O line through the Midwest. Wasn't that in the 90s or was that in the early 2000s? I don't.
They did that right before they took over their part of Conrail.
That's what I thought. Yeah.
Yeah. Double and triple tracked it all the way to Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
I think from Willard over somewhere over in there.
I think you're right. I think it might have been from Willard. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, that was interesting. Trains into Chicago. Chicago was a whole different ball game when it come to railroading.
Chuck, I was going to ask you, what do you like most about working full time for the railroad?
The paychecks. Working on railroad when the first probably 15 years was fun, but you can ask Richard. It's gotten, and probably Todd too. It's gotten a lot different now than it used to be. It's not as fun as it used to be. Before you come to work and do your job, you didn't have to worry about getting fired and all that, and that's all changed.
You have to be one that likes to be outdoors, I would assume, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hot, cold, raining, it don't matter. It don't rain on the railroad. That's what they always say.
And what are some technical things you've seen that you've been really happy with the railroad, technology wise, or stuff to make your job a little easier?
Well, like when I hired out, like on the train, you'd have 4, 5, 6, 8 4-axle engines, pulling a through freight. And like now you just got 2 wide bodies. And like now they got PPC, which tells them exactly where they're at and whether they're going uphill or downhill and what mile post. And then we got TO down here that runs the train for them. So the engineer just blows the horn. So it's come a long ways. You can't get away with stuff like you used to. Before you could get away with a lot of stuff. Now it'd tell on you for going too fast or, putting the train in emergency because you're about to screw up. And before you just reset the brakes and go again. Nowadays, you'd probably have an investigation over it.
So Chuck, just for our listeners that might not know, what is TO when you said there's something was in TO?
Oh, it's a trip optimizer.
And what does that do?
It's a computer thing, and that it runs a train for you.
So almost like cruise control.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
You got to be prepared. Sometimes it shuts off and stuff, but they're working on 0 to 0, but it takes over about 6 miles an hour, and then it'll slow you down to about 6, and then you take over.
And doesn't it tries to optimize like the fuel mileage and everything like it'll, I think Todd was telling me about how that it can be frustrating sometimes because it'll go slower than what you're really allowed to go. Is that the same thing or is that something else I'm thinking of?
Oh yeah, that's it. It's kind of frustrating because you want to go, before, back in the old days, you'd have it number 8 and you'd run line and speed if you could get your train going that fast. And this thing will just putt around. It knows the terrain, so it'll just try to coast you everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So you'll be down to 30, 20 miles an hour just coasting down the main line, and it won't be giving it any power or anything. It's crazy.
It's just all in the name of saving fuel, I guess, right?
Yeah, I believe that's it.
Yeah, I have.
But they got it timed out though. Like if like if you start running late on time, you're going to outlaw, it'll pick up the pace to get you there on time.
Uh-huh.
Kind of crazy.
Yeah, that's something else.
Yeah.
I know that was one of the things I'm pretty sure that Todd mentioned. Todd Treaster, our good friend, mentioned that he didn't like. He liked having he ran a local, so I don't know if all that was set up for him on the local, but
Yeah.
I know
Our locals usually don't have it. They got a wide body and go a long ways, but most of our locals just got, a SD40-3 or a GP.
And I think he mentioned that's one of the reasons why he was happy to get on that local, because he enjoys actually being in control of of the train instead of the computer system controlling it. I'm pretty sure
exactly.
that's what Todd mentioned. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think he said he didn't have to use PTC also or something.
I don't want to put words in Todd's mouth, but I do know he mentioned it to me about all of that automated stuff, and he just isn't a huge fan of it, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people are.
Mm-hmm.
So Chuck, we'll turn it a little bit back towards model railroading. So you got all this experience. You worked the railroad for many years. You and I talked off the air that when you first started, you barely got even a week off. The first year. What intrigued you back into model railroading? What made you go in scale? And we'll follow up with, on top of that, this mega project that you have going on. What made you do that in the area that you're doing it in? But let's go back to what brought you to N-Scale and what got you into modeling.
Okay. Well, I'm from Western New York, and when I was up there, I belonged to railroad clubs up there in people's houses. Everybody had HO. But then when I moved to Florida, I didn't have no space. So when I built at my dad's house, I built a shed out back and put a layout in there, and I went with N-Scale. And N-Scale was starting to get a little bit better back then too. The Cato was coming out with those engines, and Atlas had those ones with the Cato drive, and they ran good. And so I went to N-Scale route and got rid of most of my HO stuff. And
Chuck, what year was that that you started?
I went N-Scale in probably about 96.
96. Okay.
Yeah.
So you've been in N-Scale for a while now.
Yeah. But my brothers, they're 6 and 8 years older than me, and my dad said they got an HO layout when they were kids, and he put it on the plywood, and he said they hardly ever played with it, and it was always me playing with it. So that's how I got started, got hooked. My dad used to be a conductor, and he took me to work one time. He said when I was about 4, and he said I've been addicted ever since.
That will do it. Yeah.
And who is he a conductor for, Chuck?
He was a conductor on the Chessie system.
Nice.
Okay.
Yeah, he worked out of East Salamanca. He worked right up until the BP took over. He was on a train that night when they took over, and then he didn't get hired with the BP, and the only place CSX was hiring was in Florida as a signalman. So he came down here to finish his career out.
Oh, okay. So I never realized that your dad lived down there for a while too, and down in the south.
Yeah, he's still got a place down here, St. Augustine Beach.
Okay.
Yeah, but he spends most of his time in New York now. He's been retired for 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
Built that log cabin up on the hill, and he just spends most of his time up there.
So Chuck, you started and you got down to Florida, and you're in N-Scale. What area are you doing, and what era are you doing? So what locations are you doing, and what era are you doing?
Well, my layout I'm building now is I'm modeling the Chessie system, the B&O, East Salamanca up to Rochester and Buffalo, and then south down to Du Bois, down around Falls Creek. I'm going to end it. And the time will probably, 80s, maybe 85 is the max, because they started running stack trains around 85, and I wanted to be able to run some of them.
So Falls Creek, Pat, if you didn't realize, is where my fictional main line would cross over Chuck's main line.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah,
that Falls Creek Tower, which is a really cool tower that's still, I mean, some of it's starting to crumble, but they made those towers out of concrete, so the concrete part of it still stands. And I've driven out that way and I took pictures of that Falls Creek Tower. But there are a couple other towers still standing, I think, Chuck, that look just like that one nearby, I believe.
Yeah, there's down nearby. There's one in CM Junction, and there's one in Ashford, and the other one's in, was it Brockway? I think.
I think it is Brockway. Yep, I believe that's right.
There was one at River Junction up there, and it was the smallest one of the 5 towers. And my dad was in the bridge and building department when they tore that down, and it was so hard to tear down that they decided not to tear the rest of them down.
Yeah. The wooden parts of them are kind of decayed, but man, the concrete framing of the concrete walls and stuff are just almost a permanent part of the landscape.
Yeah, they're thick.
Yeah,
I don't know how thick they are, but they got to be over a foot thick.
Yep.
So Chuck, we got, early 80s, late 70s up to 85 chassis system. And then Brad and I knew you when you had your old layout, but you had this idea of going bigger and building I call it the mega layout. Can you tell us a little bit about the planning behind that and what got involved in that, the pole building you put up?
Yeah. Well, the wife got tired of living in the neighborhood, and she's like, let's buy some land and move somewhere. And I said, okay. So that's when I built the barn, and I kind of just, I never sketched it out on paper. I just kind of roughly had in my head what I wanted to do, and I just started building. And it's, for the most part, it's come together. But like I posted there, I had a couple curves that were too tight and stuff like that, but it's going good. I was working on some bench work tonight. I was talking with Chris Costello on the porch at the Station Inn, and I was telling him about laying some track out in his hometown, how I was going to do it. And he's like, oh, just do it this way. And I was like, oh my God, that was a solution to my problems. I've been stressing over building that section, and he come up with an idea in 2 seconds, and that's what I'm going to go with.
So Chuck, how big is the building that you end up building?
It's 30 by 40, and it's got a 12-foot lean-to on both sides. And one I got enclosed, and that's where the crew lounge is going to go. I got a bathroom and a shower, and I'm going to put a kitchenette and, couch and chairs and stuff, and for everybody to hang out. And I built a little garage part on the other side, but for the most part, it's that whole 30 by 40 section. 3 levels.
Wow. So you're saying that it's a 3-level 30 by 40 foot footprint then?
Yeah.
Oh man, we have to take a field trip, Pat.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
all there is to it.
So
Come on down. I got spare bedroom.
I was just trying to figure out how many in-scale miles that equals.
Oh, yeah.
The main focus of the railroad, like when you come in and look at it, is going to be East Salamanca Yard. It was a really big yard. It had big shops and stuff. And from the yard office at East Salamanca to the yard office at Buffalo Creek, it's a 260-foot run.
Oh, wow.
That's awesome.
Wow. And Chuck, tell us a little bit about, like, when you went with the levels, were you thinking each level was a different area of geography, and that each line or each level equals a certain line as you were going through, or is it more of, hey, this is still all East End, this is the West End of the layout, or was it built like you had some industries that you wanted to do, and so you use one level for a certain industry and then another one that mimicked just in general the area?
Yeah, what I did is I laid the yard, and then I started laying out from there, just, as it went. Where there was a switch on the railroad, I put a switch in, and I tried to stick to about between 50 and 75 car trains. So like the spacing between crossings and stuff and the sidings, is I tried to base it on that. So I could like park a train where trains used to really park and wait and wouldn't, block it and be in another scene, is what I was trying to do. But I just kind of laid it out as it went, but I had to compress some sections that I wanted. I wanted this scene, I wanted this scene, I wanted this scene, but I didn't have enough room, so I had to compress them. And then I had whole sections I had to leave out because I just couldn't get it in there. I should have went bigger.
I was going to say, Brad, you had to condense it. Yeah, right. But so
Down.
so Chuck, so do you have like yard to scenery, then to town, then back to scenery, or did you try to, or is it more of yard, industry, town, and then move on to the next town?
It's just whatever it's like in real life is what
Yeah.
I got it as.
Okay.
So if there was a switch in an industry there, I put one in, and like where the bridges and overpasses are and stuff, I that's what I did.
And Chuck, did you take your experience as a real railroader when you're putting your plans together? Like, okay, I know this is, I have to be realistic here. I'm not going to put, like you said, I can't move a 75 car train over here into the siding. You gotta think about how you're going to do this and plan it out.
Yeah, well, on this one, it's kind of just whatever's in real life is what I put. But on my last one, I did it that way, and because it was a kind of a freelance with my own short line and stuff. That was a 4 level, and I had a 12 by 36 shed, and I had that in there. But that was I kind of use that, use some real life. You wouldn't put a switch here, because that'd be a pain in the butt to switch that customer, and be better to lay it out this way and like that.
And so is there anything that you really enjoy, like industry wise, that you were like, hey, no matter what, I got to make sure I have this on the layout?
Oh yeah. I got I'm working on next is going to be Bradford, Pennsylvania, and they got a big refinery there and stuff. And south of that, you go over the hill, and then it's Johnsonburg, and they got a big paper mill there and stuff. I wanted to get that in, and I've got to have the interchange with Brad and stuff like that.
And Chuck, on your paper mill, what kind of give the listeners a scope of how big something like that will be on the layout?
It's probably I got the bench work done. It's going to be like 18 inches wide by probably about 20 or 30 feet long. Because there's a big trestle coming into town, and then you got the paper mill and that.
And so, how many lines we have like back into that paper mill? Will that be like almost like a 3 or 4 line switching operation back into the paper mill?
Geez, I haven't looked at the map. I got a map somewhere of the paper mill, but
the scope of it's going to be pretty big. Yeah.
It'll be pretty good size. Yeah, it'll be plenty of switching to do. That's what I like. I like working a switcher, and then we can like try to set it up so trains can just run through. That's why I did that open staging yard up here, and I put it was just going to be a stub end, come to the Buffalo Creek yard, and then it was just going to end. And I was like, one night I was out here, and I could loop that around and put an open staging in and loop it, and then have a reversing loop back, and I could just run trains through and back down, so to make it more interesting.
And I know Brad and I definitely want to make a trip down there, but I also believe we really need to get you on another showcase here, hopefully in the spring, to show our listeners that can go on the Iron City page and take a look to see what you're doing live and do a walk around. We'd love to have you back for another showcase.
Yeah.
I believe you did one a few years ago, if I'm correct.
Yeah, I did one of the first ones, my old layout.
Yeah, I remember that. I really enjoyed that. And that was you had 4 levels on that, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That building wasn't as big as this one, though, was it?
No, it was 12 by 36.
Yeah. So you haven't done one with your new layout at all yet, have you?
No, not with this one. No, I try to post update videos on the Iron City, and if you guys know what I'm working on and stuff.
Yep.
Brad, that place is so big, you're going to have visitor's badge to come in there and check in.
Yeah.
He can have his own conventions there.
Yeah, there you go. That's funny.
So
yeah, I can. Go ahead,
Chuck. When you're putting a layout together, and in your mind, you know what's going on, and you want to be realistic, and you want to put in everything you possibly can. What happens when you start wanting to do signaling and stuff like that? Will you be having all your live signals on there too?
Yes, actually, I'm working on that now. I got Showcase Miniatures are making me some B&O style signals for the layout because nobody made them. I bought enough signals, the Atlas ones, to do like the northern end from Salamanca north towards Ashford, but I seen on their website where they were making, you can buy the signal as a kit, but we can put it together. And I was like, well, so I contacted them, and they're doing the first test one for me pretty soon.
Oh, excellent.
Yeah, so it's going to be signaled. I think I'm going to go with the Iowa scale signal system. It's like plug and play and infrared, and then you got the track detectors, and I think it'll work out for what I want to do.
Excellent.
It's a little bit the Atlas system. I went to the clinic there at Altoona, and I think this one's the Iowa scales is a little bit better. You can do more different signal aspects, and I just think it's a little. I don't know how to explain it.
And this next question was definitely approved by Brad. What on DCC side of the house now? You got your layout. You're going to do your signals. You got your industries all put up in place, kind of where you think you're going to have everything. Now, what are you doing for DCC?
NCE, of course.
And do you need boosters for such a large layout? How does that work?
I may, but so far I've been testing voltages and stuff, and it seems to be okay.
Yeah, the need of a booster is more based on the number of trains you're going to run than it is on the size of your layout. And I believe you have a single track main line. Is that right, Chuck?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah. So it's not likely that you're going to be running a whole bunch of trains at one time, I wouldn't think, right?
No, probably not more than probably 3 or 4.
Yeah.
Unless you had a local going, and he'd only have like 1 engine or 2.
Yeah, I think so. It's possible that as long as you have lots of power drops, you may not need a booster. But I believe you have the it's a command station and 5 amp booster built into one, I believe, is the NCE system you have, the Power Pro.
That's right.
That should provide you plenty of power, I would think, 5 amps. So
yeah,
on a triple decker, I was just trying to think, how many drops would you have on something like that?
Oh, I don't even know.
Yeah, 100 at least.
Oh, I haven't put many in yet.
Yeah.
I haven't got that far.
Yeah, but
I just kind of wanting to run trains, and I was just getting
popping a couple on and keep them moving, right? Yeah.
Yeah, just trying to, you get some track laid, and you just want to run trains and work on that stuff later. But yeah, when I went DCC, a long time ago, my friend Terry Mott up in Pennsylvania, he's like, well, call Tony's Train Exchange and they'll let you know what you want to get, because he had Digitrax, and I didn't.
Oh, sorry, I'm all right.
And I didn't like, because you had to, you want a consist? Well, just program all the engines to the same number, and I was like, no, I don't want to do that. So when I talked to them at Tony's Train Exchange, I told them I wanted to be able to consist 5 engines, and this is what you want right here, the NCE system, and I went with it, and I love it.
Yeah. Well, everybody, I think we've got our questions answered for this evening, and
that was a good one to end on, Pat.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. I thought I did that strategically. So we want to close out the show here, and we have Chuck as our guest host, so we'll close out with them. So, Chuck, thank you so much for coming on this evening. Brad and I really appreciate it. I want to follow up, like I said, with another Iron City showcase for you in the spring and see where that's going. Okay. And I know Brad is excited to get a road trip to Florida here soon. So.
Yeah, you guys can come down. Anybody from Iron City is more than welcome to come and check it out if they're passing through. I'm about probably 20 minutes off of I-95.
And so you are going to be making the trip to Springfield next year too, early, right, Chuck?
Yeah, I'll be driving back up north, and
you guys, I think, are getting a B&B, a bed and breakfast or something to stay in, right?
Yeah, we got there's like 10 of us. We got to
fun.
Yeah, we got to, Tom and Chris, and then we got the Costello brothers, and Gabe, he's coming, and
Well, that'll be great. We'll have to make sure to meet up there. We'll be up at the Hilton in Springfield. So
oh, you'll be downtown then.
yeah,
Yeah.
we are.
Okay. Well,
My first
maybe
time,
on
Chuck.
Friday we'll go to a hockey game
Yeah.
if there's
But
one.
Chuck, when you said something about inviting, that reminded me. You did a post, Chuck, and who came to help you take a look at the layout and run some trains on it?
Oh, Jack Hogan. He
Okay,
lives down
great.
here in Green Cove Springs. I met him up there on the porch at the end.
And it was kind of nice. He said, "Hey, it was good to have another set of eyes, kind of proof some of the railroad for you."
Yeah, we found several bad spots because I run shorter equipment, not a lot of 60-foot boxcars and stuff, and not a lot of 6 axles, mainly 4 axles. And when he brought those big NS wide bodies, running them up through here with DP and stuff, it found all the bad spots.
That's
Well,
good. It's always good to have. I always thought it's good to have an extra set of eyes when you're building something to just kind of maybe look at something a little different. You know, when you're building it, you know what the throttle speed's got to be on that curve, or
Yeah.
when you pull that switch in, it's going to jump maybe just a little bit. But you're
Yeah.
used to that. When someone else is doing it, they're not, and so you're like, oh, I got to foolproof that because I know the glitches of the layout, but someone who wants to come on and run would not know that. So
Yeah,
it's always
exactly.
good to
Yeah.
have that. Yeah.
Marked it with blue painter's tape, and I went through and fixed most of them.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, there's one I got to change out another switch. I got a switch I got to change out and stuff we found was bad.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody, we really appreciate you listening, and we're going to finish up here. I'll tell everybody, hey, the Iron City Roundhouse Report, you can see us on our Iron City InScale page, and you can post on there or leave Chuck, myself, Brad a note, or you can DM us on the Iron City page. We're always looking for people to post. And Brad, I don't know if you saw, there's a little bit of a trend right now that we're getting a lot more people that just started, or people have said, hey, I've been watching or listening for, about the last 6 months. I'm finally going to post some things on here. And I see another triple in here, and a couple of new modelers that they're
We've seen some more C's lately.
Yeah, absolutely. And then also, if you're listening right now, you can get us on Apple Podcast. You can reach us on YouTube, Podbean. You can get us Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio, Player FM, Listen Notes, Podchaser, and Boomplay. So we're on all of those. And we just appreciate everyone listening. Brad and I are having a great time. Love hosting people like Chuck this evening as a guest host. And I'm going to pass it over to Brad for his final thoughts.
Yeah, just enjoyed talking to you as always, Chuck. Chuck's one of the first guys that I met when I first started venturing into model railroading on the internet, the interwebs, and we met up as I am apt to do. I buy a lot of used locomotives and stuff, and I can remember most of my Buffalo and Pittsburgh collection that I run on my layout came from Chuck. So that's how we first met, and it's just been a great run, and I'm glad that we were able to have Chuck on here. So thanks for doing that, Chuck. And the one thing that I think we should probably mention too, Pat, I've noticed, it is exciting to get all these new people joining us, and I believe we recently crossed the 2,300 member threshold, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct?
I think so. Yeah, we're over that.
So,
Yeah.
So that's pretty awesome. If you do want to join, I have seen quite a few people who have joined but don't answer. I know it can be a pain to answer the questions, but we've recently run into, well, not just recently, it's been going on for the last year. If we don't have those questions for people to answer, we get spammers and we get spammers and scammers and stuff like that trying to get in. We just don't want that on the page. It's not that we want to exclude anybody who is a true model railroader and would like to join us. So if you do want to join in on the fun, and we do have a good time at Iron City, and maybe get some of your stuff, or you might even be able to, if you're so inclined, to come on here with us sometime. But if you do want to join, we just ask that you take a few minutes to answer those membership questions. We don't grade it like a test or anything, but it's just to make sure that it is an actual human who has some interest and some knowledge of model railroading, to make sure that we preserve the integrity of what the page is supposed to be all about. So just a reminder that we have been seeing some people trying to join without doing that, and we can't accept unless those membership questions are answered. But other than that, keep the great comments coming, the pictures, the videos. We love them all, and we hope to have as many people that are interested in doing something like this to come on with us and have a chat, just like we did with Chuck tonight. So thanks to Chuck once again. Chuck, it was great having you, and
thanks for having me.
Though this definitely won't be the last time, that's a guarantee. So we'll take it back to Pat to take us out of here.
Okay, Brad. Hey, I just want to remind everybody, our season 1 is about to come to a close. We probably have about 2 more shows, maybe 3, and we're going to have a nice, fun, exciting finale. We got a little something surprise in store for the finale, and I think everybody's going to enjoy that. And just a reminder, if you are a club or you belong to a T-Track group, please post your holiday shows for us so everyone understands where you're at. You can be in England, you can be in Australia, you can be in the West Coast. You don't have to be in the Pennsylvania area to post for us, to put your show on there and advertise that, hey, we're having something. It's really, really exciting when we get our reports back to see where all our listeners are from. And we do have a very good Canadian group. We have a lot of folks from Australia, and we have a lot of people from the UK and Great Britain. So we really appreciate our listeners. We thank you for listening. And for behalf of Chuck and Brad, thanks for listening to the Roundhouse Report. We'll catch you next time.
All right, rail fans, that's all the steam we've got for this edition of the Iron City Roundhouse Report. Until next time, keep those gauges green, your couplers connected, and may your layouts always run smoothly. Happy railroading.